Good morning, and welcome to Tea for 10 with Scissors Paper Paul, which is me. Thanks for joining me on a Sunday morning. I can see lots of you making some comments. Jessica, you're saying the weather's crazy. You must be from Melbourne, like me, because it's been hot, it's been cold, and it's going to be hot tomorrow. But thanks for joining me on a Sunday morning. If you don't know who I am, my name is Paul from Scissors Paper Paul on Instagram, Facebook, and of course YouTube. And Sunday at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I go live for a bit of a general chit chat where I share my Cricut product knowledge and expertise with you so that you can master these incredible machines. And ultimately, I want you to make beautiful things. But every week I always have a bit of a craft planned as well. And this week I was so overwhelmed with lots of comments and feedback from Thursday night's live, and I'll place a card, always wanted to do this, I'll place a card up here for the replay for those of you that didn't see that video, but this is all about with your text being on an angled surface and how to curve it so that it looks straight when you look front on. So if that sounds like something that you're interested, you're in the right place. Let me know in the comments if you're new, type new, I want to meet you. Even if you're watching the replay, please type new. I'd love to meet you and hear all about you and find out where you're from and everything like that as well. If you've got a question, please type it in caps. That'll make it easier for me to find it in the comments so that I can address that. But let's get started. Before I do, I want to know from you, do you craft in metric or in imperial? So centimeters, millimeters, or are you like me? Do you craft in inches? Pop that in the comments and I'll explain why when we get started. But let's have a look at some of the comments. Megan's dealing with the heat in Sydney. Yeah, I knew it was hot yesterday, 34 or something. How hot is it today? You guys having crazy weather. I think we were warm yesterday. I think it's only 18 today, but I think it was 29, I want to say, yesterday. I think it's going to be 26 or 7 tomorrow in Melbourne. Zelia, always missed you. Yeah, look, I'm trying to be considerate of you guys that are regulars that are going to turn up at 11 o'clock. And I don't know if you just want me to start dancing at 11, but I just figured, you guys can join at 11. You don't have to put up with me making a fool of myself. Lots of people crafting in both inches and centimeters. It's a little bit like me, really. We've got Megan, who's metric. Hey, Stevie, it's my sister, my baby sister. She's all about inches when it comes to crafting. Love it. Thank you. Bernie's imperial, and Bernie, I saw that you've got one of your grandbabies or something because now the lockdown's over. That's awesome. I love that. And you're a quilter as well. Me too. So I started out as a sewer, and for some reason I'm just kind of locked into imperial. Yvonne's into metric. Zelia's into inches. Awesome. Oh, Shelley, grandson's dancing with me. Excellent. I love it. I hope a few of you get up and have a bit of a boogie. Awesome. Okay, well, let's get started. Just quickly as well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. And also breaking news. So just quickly, a couple of things. I am going to show some things from One Blanks company today, but I just wanted to share some links in the description below for my favorite blanks companies, because today was actually going to be all about using blanks from all different sort of companies, but I just wanted to focus. I felt like this tutorial deserved its own little video rather than being sort of crammed into Thursday night's live. So I really just wanted to kind of pull this out and do this kind of on its own. But I didn't want to lose sight of the fact that it's getting close to Christmas. And if you're looking for blanks for gifts, or you're a seller, then make sure you check out Laser Blanks, Cafe Creates, Exo Craft Blanks, and I've missed one, Exo Craft House as well. So you would have seen, I don't have them here now, but my Santa sacks were from Craft House, which are amazing. But definitely check out those blanks companies because they are the bomb. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is we've got lots of bundles available at the moment for the Black Friday sales. I don't know how long they're going to last. I don't know if they're going to be there for a wee while. I know that they are there today. But of course, you've got the Costco bundle for the Maker. And these are basically the best value if you're looking for a machine today. You got the Costco bundle with the Cricut Maker, which comes with everything standard in the box for the Cricut Maker, and then all of these extras. You've got the Cricut Explore Air 2, which is at Harvey Norman for $348, which is a bargain, an absolute bargain. I think it's like almost 25% off. So if you're looking for an Air 2, grab that deal. And likewise, the Joy, which we're going to use today. Big W had a fabulous bundle. So the Joy normally retails for $349, and they've actually got the starter bundle. So it comes with your weeding tool, your scraper, your spatula. It's got the small green mat. You obviously get your black pen, the fine point blade, and then there's some vinyl, and oh my god, also it's loaded. So if you're getting the Joy, that's the deal that you want. And the other thing as well, and again, I'm going to do this, I'm going to link a card up here for the replay. But on Thursday night's live, I did mention how you could potentially win a $200 voucher from Laser Blanks. So make sure you check out that video. And I'm eating all my marshmallows from my little Christmas make from the other night. So that's it. That's the breaking news. Let's get into it. And Karen, you're saying 41 in Sydney today. My God, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, so let's have a look at the overhead. Just move my bits out the way. Okay, so the idea here is what we did on Thursday night is I showed you how you can basically, and so there's going to be marshmallows are probably going to go all over the place, is how we can get our text to look straight on a curved surface. Now, to show you what I mean, what it would normally look like, I did cut out the word here in vinyl horizontal. And the reason I wanted to do that is this is how we normally cut our designs. But if you apply it on an angled surface, and there are going to be marshmallows go everywhere now, hopefully you can see what's happening here. I call it like the smiley effect. If I turn it a little bit to the side, you'll see it even better. You can see how it curves down and then back up the other side. It doesn't go straight, but you can see how the words on the other side, they look straight. The effect, I've basically curved them so that when they're applied to that angled surface, they actually do look straight. Now look at all those delicious marshmallows falling out. So hopefully that made sense. Let me know in the comments if it didn't, if you've got any questions. And then we're going to dive right in. Also, let me know in the comments, I'm going to use this mug today from IKEA, which is kind of a dusky pink color. Should we go pink on pink? Or should we go with the black shimmer black on the pink? I'm kind of leaning towards the black, but let me know if I'm wrong. The other thing is too, just so you know, if you didn't know already, I'm using up scraps today, and for the rest of the year, I'm only using scraps if I can avoid using anything else. All right, so I'm just going to share my screen. And we're in a design space, but I'm actually going to change this. We want to go to this website. No worries, Janine. Thanks for joining. And this website is linked down below. Now, thank you, Glenn, who watched on Thursday night and helped me help you now. And what I didn't realize is that the default for this site is actually millimeters. And so the measurements down here are in millimeters. And on Thursday night, I was sort of, trying to get you to add zeros and all sorts of things. So I thought I just, again, would pull this out as a separate tutorial and just highlight that the default is in millimeters. So if you work in millimeters, then you can totally just do this as it is. I'm going to do it in inches because in Design Space, my design space is set to imperial and inches, and that's going to make it easier for me when I come to upload the template. And again, this will all make sense. But if your design space is set to metric, then by all means, you just use the millimeters, and we'll talk a little bit about that in Design Space as well. But the first thing that I'm going to do is my cone template. I'm going to click inch, and then I'm going to scroll down to where we can input our values. I'm just waiting for this to refresh. Okay, so here we can add values in inches, and we can see that it's like a little cone shape, which effectively this is going to be the bottom of your mug or your tumbler or your vase or whatever you're putting it onto. This is going to be the top, and then this is going to, of course, be the side. So let's switch over to the overhead and we'll do some measuring. Okay, so here we go. So here's my mug. I'm just going to flip it upside down. I'm going to get my tape measure, and I'm just going to measure from one side. So we want the diameter from one side to the other, and that's about 3 inches. So we'll go back to our template and we'll select from the drop down and go to 3 inches. So that's our first measurement. Then we're doing the base, which effectively is the top of the mug. So we'll flip our mug back over. Again, we'll use our tape measure, and that is measuring about 3.5 inches. So again, we'll go back to the base measurement on the website, and we'll do 3.5 inches. And then we'll do the last measurement. I see a question just popped up, but I'll just do the last measurement, which is the height. And again, it's not the height kind of like as it stands from the ground, but actually the angled measurement here, the angled surface. So again, tape measure, measuring down, and it's 3.5 inches basically. Okay, so we'll go 3.5 inches for our height. 3.5 inches for our height. And then we're going to click calculate. And we can see that those dimensions are now showing in the little image on the left, which pretty much mirrors the appearance of my mug as well. And then now we have this fabulous little template, which effectively represents the curved surface of the mug on an angle, okay? So let me just check, because I noticed there was a question, so I just want to make sure I don't miss anything here. So Yvonne's saying, does this work with pictures too? Give me more information, Yvonne. I'm not 100% sure I understand the question. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of this page, and then we're going to go to Design Space. Okay, now in Design Space, I've opened up a new project, and what we're going to do is we're going to upload, and we're going to upload an image. Now you can drag your image onto here if you like, or you can browse and you can find the image that you want. Okay, and then we're just going to click Simple, and we're going to click Continue, and we're going to clean up this image. So first things first, let's make it smaller so we can actually see it. And then I'm going to go up to the top left and I'm going to click crop. And then I'm going to come down into my image, and then very carefully I'm just going to put a selection over just my template. All right, and then I'll make it smaller so I can see it. And then I'm going to go back up to the top left and I'm going to choose Erase. And then I'm going to just click on the outside. And there we've got our template, which we're going to use as a cut image. So we'll click Continue. It always defaults when you upload an image to save as print then cut, but we're actually going to save this as a cut image, and I'm going to call this IKEA, because that's where it's from, mug pink, because I might want to use it again, and then it'll help me find it. And then I might just add some tags here as well, and then I'm going to click Save. And then it'll come to all of my uploaded images. I'm going to select the one that I want and then upload into my design. Oh. Okay, upload, select, and insert into my design space. All right, so hopefully that's making sense so far. Let me just check comments. Yvonne saying, can you alter pictures to the curve so that it goes on straight? Okay, so this is using text. You can only curve text. If you have a way of curving that image, yes, but that's not going to work in this method because I'm literally just going into Design Space. You'll see we're just going to use text and we're going to use the curve feature, and you can only do that with text. But great question, great question. All right, so back into Design Space here. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, just so it's easier to work with. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Now, if you remember the measurement, okay, because this, we can't work with this as it stands, we need to size it so it's correct, but we know that the length from this bottom or top or bottom to this other end was 3.5 inches. Now, because I'm working in my design spaces in inches, that's why I use the template in inches. If you use a hamburger bar on the top left in Design Space and go to settings, you can change it to metric or imperial depending on what you preference when you're working with, but mine is in inches, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use on the top right this little anchor tool which allows me to turn the image. So I'm going to get it as straight as possible using the grid lines here on the canvas. I'm going to move it over to the rulers on the left-hand side. Okay, so I need it to be 3.5 inches, and it's currently about 5.5 inches. All right, so that's definitely way too big. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our bottom right arrows here that we can then resize this down until, so what's that now? That is still 4. So just take your time, almost there, 3.5 inches we want. Okay, so that's about 3.5 inches now on that side. So we know that this template is now a representation of our mug. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to even this out so we can apply our text and we can curve it. So again, using the rotation link there on the top right, we're just going to spin this around. Okay, let's move it up so we can see it properly. And then again, just using those grid lines on the mat, just get it so it is as horizontal as it possibly could be. Now I'm going to change this color to pinky color, which kind of represents my mug as well. And then now that's a representation resized of our mug's dimensions. So if I cut this out, effectively that should wrap all the way around my mug. Okay, so now we're going to add our text. And what I do with the text, if you're doing multiple lines like I am, and I'll just show you again my design, which was "You're hot," and in brackets, chocolate. What I do is I do the words each line separately. Just think if you can't, you can only curve one line of text at a time anyway. So I just find it works better. It's just easier. And I'm going to, this design is actually for someone who's watching. Spoiler alert. And the first part of our saying for our mug is tired. And I'm going to use a font that I looked up earlier called enviro.com or envirocom, I think it's called. So that's the first word. And then, so I can just keep the same font and everything, I'm just going to Control-C or Command-C or right-click and copy, and then Command-V or Control-V or right-click paste to get 2 copies, because there's 3 lines of text. Okay. So the second line of text, I'm just going to double-click, is going to be as, caps lock on, as a, anyone guess what the third word is going to be? This is for my sister who's a new mum. Okay, so tired as a mother. Hopefully that's not too offensive to anyone. I'm pretty prudish when it comes to these sort of things, so I figured if it's okay for me, hopefully it's okay for you guys. All right, so the next thing that I do, just again, this is just so we can just get the show on the road and keep everything really, really consistent, is I'm going to resize each of these texts to the same width. Right, so they're going to be different heights, but they're going to be the same width. So up on the top, I'm going to change the width to 4. Doesn't really matter what you're doing because we can resize it after. Actually, I'm going to leave that one small, but I'm definitely going to make this one 4 as well. And then I'm going to select all of these and go up to the top, align, and then center horizontally. And now they're all nice and aligned. Okay. The next thing that we need to do is now we need to, of course, curve these so that they're going to go right. And I'm just, sorry, I'm changing my mind and I'm making that a little bit smaller horizontally. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our first line of text, our first word in this instance. It could be a line of text, not just one word. I'm going to move it up to the top of my template to where it's sitting at the very, very top. Yeah. In fact, I might just move these down a wee bit. So the tide is now sitting at the very center of my top, or the very top of my template. I'm now going to select both of these, go to align and also center horizontally. And that way I just know that that word is sitting on the top of the curve, but also in the middle of the curve. The reason being that now I'm going to select it. I'm going to go up to the curve option in the menu. And now I'm going to start dragging this little slider along so that it starts to curve around my surface. Now, this curve is actually quite subtle. It's not as strong as the curve that I did the other night. So the text doesn't need to be as curved as it might in some other cases. But what we're going to do is we're going to get that and we think, yep, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. You may even want to, if you wanted to, you could go ungroup to letters as well, and you could move these a little bit closer if that, looked aesthetically better for you. Completely up to you. I kind of like that a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. But completely up to you. In fact, I'm just going to take it back to the way that it was. But the main thing here is that once we're happy with our curve, if we go back to the curve option, we can see how much we've curved here. There's a number. So this case, it's 40.805. So what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to copy that. So again, Control-C or Command-C if you're on a Mac like me. Then we're going to get our next bit of text. Okay, and we're going to click on Curve. And we're going to select the 0 and we're going to Control-V or Command-V and paste in that value. And now that is being curved at the same amount as that first part of the text. Likewise with this one, we're going to do the same thing. Going to curve it the same. And again, it's quite subtle, but as you can see, it's starting to curve, follow that curve of that template. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to move the template out of the way, is we're just going to position these to where we're happy with how far apart they are in terms of on the height, etc. I'm going to align center horizontally, and then I'm going to attach. Actually, I'm going to use attach down the bottom right, and now they're going to obviously make sure I've selected all, line center, and then attach. Okay, and then now not only will they cut together, but they'll size together. They're basically going to be held together, attaches like a paper clip. Yep. So now what I want to do is I want to size it for my mug. So I'm going to have a look here. I'm going to go, how big do I want it? Is that too big? Probably a little bit smaller. It's looking pretty good. Make it a wee bit bigger. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. So again, hopefully that all made sense. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hide our template. So use a little eye icon on the right, and that'll disappear, and then we're ready to click Make It and send it to our maker. So with the maker, we're going to cut it on the mat. Now, did everyone tell me what color they wanted to cut at? Just having a look at the comments here. No, so Suzette, you've got to curve the text before you do any ungrouping or anything like that. Once you ungroup it, then they all act independently. Did we get a vote for? Oh, we got black. Yeah, I think black's the winner. Black. I mean, I'm obsessed with black. It's just that because I'm using my scraps, I just seem to be making everything with black shimmer at the moment. So I thought it might be nice to do something else, but I totally agree. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get our mat because I don't have the black shimmer and the smart vinyl, so I'm just using it for my stash. Again, using up my scraps. So I've got my little mat here. Make sure you take off your protective cover, put that safely somewhere. And then we're just going to pop on our vinyl Okay, here we go. Okay, open up our Joy, and then we'll just go back to Cricut Design Space and we'll click Continue. Now it's going to connect to my Joy in via Bluetooth, because as you know, the Joy only connects via Bluetooth and there are no buttons. Everything is controlled in Design Space. And if I wanted to browse materials, if I search shimmer, I'm only going to see shimmer paper or smart vinyl shimmer. Now, smart vinyl shimmer, it's obviously has the strong backing and it goes through without a mat. So in my opinion, I'm thinking it's probably going to cut a little bit, potentially a little bit harder. Now, it may work perfectly, but I just, and it's a bit of trial and error, what I decided to do was I used premium vinyl, and then I upped the pressure a little bit to more, because, you know, this is like a glitter vinyl. It's not as thick as glitter. The shimmer's not that thick, but it's a little bit thicker than a premium vinyl. And I just thought, I'm going to try that and see if it works. And I did some testing earlier and it did work. So now my Joy is flashing, asking me to feed in my mat. And again, there's no buttons here. As I start to load this between the guides, the little wheels start wheeling. The first thing it's going to do is just check that I have enough materials to do the cut that I need to cut. And then I can click go and it's going to go off and do its thing. So while that's cutting, the other thing that we're going to put together as well is I've got these gorgeous little blanks from Laser Blanks, and this is gorgeous black acrylic. And what they've done is they've got these layered elements, and there's like a gold little bow here, and we're going to put a design on there. They also have other ones as well, so this is really cute too. There's a little Santa stocking, and then you've got the little white element that pops on. So these are really, really cute. So we're going to put a design onto there as well as the mug, and I'm using the Fix and Glue gel by Bostik. So as you know, you probably know, Bostik sent me a whole bunch of their new super glue. This bonds 99.9% of materials, and to be honest, it's been really, really good. I've been using it for a lot actually with acrylics, connecting acrylics together, and it hasn't let me down. So I can thoroughly recommend this. I believe you can get it at Officeworks. They actually also sent me last week some foam pads and glue dots and some other things as well, which I will be trying. So just back into Cricut Design Space, and we can click unload, and then that pops out of our machine. We can close our Cricut Maker, and let me just see where the cuts. Probably should have trimmed this down a little bit first, but that's okay. We're just going to have a little bit of wastage here when I weed. I'm just going to weed it on the mat. You don't have to do this. Sometimes I just like to kind of do that. So I just got my little weeding tool. I'm going to pick up a corner, and off we go. Going slowly. I think I've said it a million times. Shimmer vinyl is my favorite vinyl. And I'm by no means the weeding king or anything like that. I'm quite nervous when it comes to weeding vinyl. So I'm just going to go really slow. This is quite thin at the bottom. Making sure all the bits coming off as they should. A funny little font, this one, but I liked it because I thought it was kind of a little bit fun, a little bit junior. So hopefully the sentiment won't be too obvious, if you get my drift, so it's not going to offend anyone. Okay, awesome. A little bit of wastage there, and then we'll just take out these little pieces that I'm definitely better at. Getting these other little bits. Just that initial weed that I always just feel a bit panicked about, to make sure everything comes off or stays on where it should. So that's done. I'll just take it off the mat now. So just turning the mat over, peeling that off, and then putting my protective cover back on. All right, so we can pop that aside. And here is our design. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put on our transfer tape. Now, make sure that you always clean your surface with isocol or alcohol, to make sure that it's dust-free, lint-free, and free of any oils and things that might impact the transfer of the design. The other thing is that you need to decide where are you actually going to put the design. Now, for me, I know a lot of people like it facing them when they're drinking, but I actually do it the other way, so that it's facing you when I'm drinking my coffee, particularly if it's insulting, because then you can, it's a bit of a in your face. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to put it on there. So I've got my transfer tape. Again, I'm recycling small bits of transfer tape, and I've got a larger design, so I just want to make sure I don't go too small with this. I'm going to reuse this if we can. Again, in the spirit of not wasting materials, just going to use up what I've got. With so many open rolls of vinyl, just really need to get it all used up, before I start opening more rolls of vinyl. Okay, so when I apply my transfer tape now, for shimmer, you need the strong purple transfer tape. If you buy the shimmer vinyl, if you unroll it, there will actually be a sheet of 12 by 12 inside once you unroll it. So don't forget that. But if you're using normal transfer tape and wondering why it's not transferring, that's why. All right, so we're just going to pop that down. Okay. Get my burnishing tool. Give it a good burnish. And I like to give it a bit of a rub-a-dub-dub on the backside. The main thing is, of course, that we want the vinyl to stick to the transfer tape. So if you do the next stage, which is removing the backing, and it starts pulling up, then you can just put it back down and give it a bit of a burnish, a bit of a rub-a-dub-dub, and hopefully it will stick that time. Likewise, if a little bit comes up, you can just push it down and just take your time. Again, this is something you don't want to rush. You just want to make sure it's all staying where it should. I try and pull the backing back as close to the design as I can. And that worked perfectly, which is great. And then we'll take our mug. And I probably should have got something to use my Santa hat from during the week. Just prop this up. I want it to be front on. Okay, is that in shot? Okay, and then, excuse my fat head for getting in here now. So now what we're going to do is we want to center this as best we can. And again, because it is slightly curved, you just kind of want to keep it looking visually how you would expect. So just put that on there. Okay. And then just so this isn't a curved surface, so it will go down easily onto the final design. Definitely should have moved the E and the D closer together, I think. This is quite a matte, if you've worked with these before, this is quite a matte surface on these pink mugs from IKEA. So it can be a little bit tricky getting the vinyl on, but it's definitely doable. Okay, I wanted to save that, so I'll pop that to the side. Get rid of our center hat, and then we'll just give that a burnish. But as you can see, if we just go to the overhead, it looks perfectly straight when we're looking at the text. Yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. Again, it's probably more obvious on the Christmas one that I did with the hot chocolate, because you can see how curved the actual surface is, and then how it looks straight when it's front on. So hopefully that made sense as I eat those marshmallows. Awesome. So yeah, so that's a curved text to make sure that it looks straight on the surface. You can see I probably should have moved those closer together like I wanted to. Maybe I'll look at doing a redo if I can be bothered. But anyway, that's the design. So the other thing I wanted to show you was these super cute designs from Cricut, from Laser Blanks. I just decided that I would do a Mandalorian inspired bauble. This really spoke to me because I'm obsessed with Mandalorian and Star Wars, and so is my son. So what I did is I've had this design which I pre-purchased a long time ago with a digital mystery box with Cricut. So a long time ago, and it's a snowflake with not the Mandalorian, of course, but well, it is a Mandalorian, but not obviously the Mandalorian that we're watching on TV. I think it's based on Boba Fett, this one, if you know who that is. But again, just make sure it's all burnished down. Just remove. One little bit there, the broom stick. Okay, so this is the back. So this is going to have this snowflake design. And again, excuse my fat head, it's in shot. But what I also find now, and you may find this as well, but sometimes this is quite a new scraping tool. So it's not rough or anything, but sometimes these can get a little bit rough. So what I tend to do, if I can with acrylic, if it's just a small design like this, I'm just going to burnish it with my finger. Because what I find is if you have a scratchy scraper, then sometimes you can actually scrape or scratch the acrylic, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to peel back my transfer tape, and hopefully you can see just how much that gold, and these come in different colors, these baubles as well, but the gold just absolutely spoke to me. So I know it's probably hard to see the shimmer, catch the shimmer, with those gorgeous and gold and shimmery. And then we're going to do the other side. And this is the last project and we'll be done for the day. Bernie's learning all about Star Wars and the Mandalorian from me. Glad I can help. So with this as well, just go to the... So with these, just grabbing the corner. Again, you don't want to use a weeding tool because you don't want to scratch the acrylic. There's also on Laserblank's website a fabulous article about how to clean and care for your acrylics. So they might surprise you. You shouldn't use alcohol on them because that can cause splitting. I think it was, I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, you shouldn't be using acrylics on, alcohol on your acrylics, which I didn't realize. So check that out. And I'm just using, again, recycling my transfer tape, being a very good tidy Kiwi, as we used to say when I was growing up in New Zealand. So I've just got a couple of wee words to put on here and then we're done. So if you think of anything else that I've got to cover in the tutorial, again, I did go through it all on Thursday night with the other mug, the hot chocolate mug that I designed, but it was a lot longer. I just wanted to do something that was a little bit more condensed. Oops, and of course my tea just flicked off then. I'm just going to pop that down. It's better. Okay. Now, if you know the Mandalorian, then you know what this is all about. Great thing about using cutting mats as well is that you can use the grid lines to really center your blanks so that you can apply something in the middle. And again, excuse my fat head. Okay, and again, I'm just burnishing with my finger. Beautiful and sparkly. Again, you can't see this on sparkle vision, but this is beautiful and sparkly. And the silver shimmer as well. And then the last piece. So this is a quote from the Mandalorian. And I think I'm going to lose my little speech thingies. Just giving it a really good burnish there. Try to make sure everything stays on. And I'm peeling this back. Awesome. I'm going to pop that down in the middle. Again, I'll just use this to center me. Boom. And then the last piece, we are now going to attach our acrylic. Now, with these gold pieces as well, they also have a protective cover on them. So make sure they look shiny and goldy, but make sure you peel that off and then they'll look really gold. Beautiful. Hey, Paul's all the way from the UK. Thanks for joining. All right, so now we're just going to add some glue. This is a bit gunked up, but hopefully it'll work. Don't need a lot. You know me, I love my little dots of glue. Needs a clean. And then we'll just pop that on there. And I'll just use my fingers to make sure it is aligned. All right, and there we go. So there's our beautiful "This is the way" quote from Mando, and then it's also got that sparkly snowflake on the end, and I thought that would look really cool on my Christmas tree. So that's it. Next week, Thursday night, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. You've got Natalie up again. She is what's Natalie doing? Natalie is doing a wreath, a Christmas wreath. So Thursday, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on YouTube as well. And then I'll be back next Sunday, same time, 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, to do something else. So if you've got some ideas of things you want to see, obviously it's getting closer to Christmas, we're getting closer to New Year's as well. Please, please, please let me know. Bernie is saying, is that an instant glue? Or you had a little movement? Yeah, so anything with liquid, you do have a little bit of wiggle room, so you can move it around just a tad. So yeah, make the most of that. Yes, the baubles and bows are gorgeous. Yeah, so Karen's saying, could you use the brayer instead of the scraper? Look, you could. I mean, I just use my finger. I feel I can really sort of just get in there and make sure it's really rubbed in nice and firmly. But yeah, you could totally try the brayer as well. You just don't want to scratch the acrylic, and it can happen. All right, I think I've got all the questions. Oh, just quickly, Janine asked, what's the difference between weld and attach? So attach holds things together like a paper clip, and when words are not kind of connected, or like it's not a script font that needs to be cut all together as one piece, then attach is perfect. If it is a scripty font that kind of joins into itself and you want it to cut one complete piece, then you would weld. And when you weld, you change it from a font to an image, a single image. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, have a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.